That's all the news that is the news in Novi.
It's 7 o'clock, and I'd like to call to order the Novi Public Library Board of Trustees meeting for this Thursday, May 8, 2025 at 7 p.m. Would we rise? I ask you to rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I might ask our secretary to call the roll.
Trustee Bartlett.
Here.
Trustee Burke.
Here.
Trustee Crawford is absent excused. Trustee Dooley is absent excused. Trustee Helvangus is here. Trustee Gawalapu.
Here.
Trustee Stirring.
Here.
Student Demore is absent excused. And Student Dohadwala is absent.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve our agenda. Any discussion? If not, I'll
Actually,
ask-
in the absence of the student representatives,
Oh, there you go.
how do you want to handle their section?
Good point.
I can handle it.
You just go right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Would you call the vote, please?
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Helvangus says yes. Trustee Gawalapu.
Yes.
Trustee Stirring.
Yes.
Trustee Bartlett.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of two items: the minutes of April 10, 2025, which was a regular board meeting, and also the approval of the claims and warrants in accounts 271 and 272, which happens to be on page 10 through 12 in our handout.
So moved. To approve.
It's been moved to, has it been seconded?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? If not, Secretary, would you call the vote?
Trustee Helvangus says yes. Trustee Gawalapu.
Yes.
Trustee Stirring.
Yes.
Trustee Bartlett.
Yes.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
We can make a note that she's been added.
Okay.
Yep, perfect.
Very good.
No, welcome. Hello.
Welcome.
Next item on the agenda is public comment. In order to hear all citizens' comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that the speakers respect the 3-minute time limit. And this is not a question and answer period. However, it is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the library board. Citizens must state their first, last name, and address. Anybody from the public wish to comment to the library board? Seeing not a lot of people or not seeing any people rush to the podium, I think there's nobody here who wants to address us tonight. Moving on to reports. The student representative report.
You made it
Very
just in
timely.
time.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
For March Tween and Teen Library programs, we had Club Half-Blood held on March 6th. This event was for all fans of Greek mythology, monsters, and mayhem. Those loving Percy Jackson attended our monthly club for book talk, snacks, games, and crafts inspired by the books. Attendance was 6. The No Required Reading Book Club program was held on March 13th, taking a break from reading for school. This club is just for teens. Each month we will pick a new book to read, and then some come together to discuss their thoughts and feelings about the book. Attendance was 1 for this event. The Novi Chess Club program was held on March 13th and 27th. The event provides an opportunity for teens and tweens to participate in games, learn about chess, and sharpen their skills. Attendance was 22 and 14 respectively. The March Grab and Go distribution occurred on March 14th. Kids picked up kits themed around St. Patrick's Day on a first-come, first-served basis. Attendance was 96. The DIY Mason Jars event was held on March 25th. Tweens joined the library to make one-of-a-kind mason jar lanterns with cool silhouette decals. Attendance was 20. The sewing machine demo happened on March 17th. Participants joined us in the iCube to see a demo of the sewing machine and were able to make fabric bookmarks. Attendance was 4. During March 2025, there were, it doesn't look like we have, I think it's down here. 506 patrons who visited Teen Space. I think it's lower this month because this month is AP testing. So people might have been out for that. So that may be the reason for the lower attendance. So March 3rd through 7th was 202 attendees. March 10th through 14th was 85 attendees. March 17th through 21, 89 attendees. And March 24th through 28th was 130 attendees.
And if I could just add real quick for you, also spring sports, there's a lot
of
more.
travel for HOSA,
Yeah.
DECA, robotics during spring, so.
Yeah, and a lot of sports. So we tend to see a little less of the students coming in just because of all the different activities. That was a great after. Yep.
And Teen Space was not in session for the following dates. March 21st for the TAB meeting. The 7th TAB meeting of the year was held on March 21st. TAB discussed upcoming officer elections being held in May, so this month, and promoted the MCU-FCU financial program on April 15th and 25th. The April 25th session will be held in place of a TAB meeting. For reading month, TAB selected some favorite books from the young adult and graphic novel sections to write recommendations on index cards. Then members worked to set the index cards to be displayed outside the second floor teen room. This was a fun way to talk about awesome books. Attendance was 7. The upcoming programs for the month are Teen Space daily program held through Monday through Friday from 2:45 to 5 p.m. Club Half Blood on May 1st from 6:30 to 8. Japanese Conversation Group on May 7th from 6:30 to 8:30. No Required Reading Book Club on May 8th, 4 to 5. Novi Chess Club May 8th, 7 to 8. Put More Dream in Your Team, an inclusive employment awareness program, May 8th from 7 to 8. May Tween and Grab and Go Kit on May 16th. Teen Advisory Board meeting is on May 16th, 3:30 to 4:30. Beginner Sewing class for pillowcases is May 17th, 2 to 4 p.m. Spanish Conversation Group is May 20th from 6:30 to 8. And the March Teen Stop display featured books handpicked by the Teen Advisory Board for March's Reading Month.
Oh, because there's 2 months.
Oh, I forgot. I thought it was a misprint. That's my bad.
No.
So the April 2025 Student Representatives Report. So for Tween and Teen library programs, the Club Half Blood program was held on April 3rd. This event was for all fans of Greek mythology, monsters, and mayhem. Those loving Percy Jackson attended our monthly club for book talks, snacks, games, and crafts inspired by the books. Attendance was 6 for April. The Novi Chess Club program was held on March 3rd and 24th. Oh, I think that's probably supposed to say April. April 3rd and 24th.
Yes, thank you.
This event provides an opportunity for teens and tweens to participate in games, learn about chess, and sharpen their skills. Attendance was 17 and 15, respectively. The No Required Reading Book Club program was held on April 10th. Taking a break from reading for school, this book club is just for teens. Each month, we'll pick a new book to read and then come together to discuss our thoughts and feelings about the book. Attendance was 2. Teen Reality Check with MCU-FCU was held on April 15th. Reality Check is a program that MCU-FCU created to give students a realistic understanding of how much life costs when they get into the workforce and start paying their own bills. Attendance was 9. The April Tween Grab and Go Kit distribution is held on April 18th. Tweens stopped by the library beginning at 10 a.m. to pick up a youth Grab and Go Kit. I'm not sure what the attendance was, but...
It was 96, my
96.
mistake, yes.
So, still good attendance that
Yes.
month.
Yes.
And the Tape Resist art activity was held on April 22nd. Tweens participated in a hand painting activity. Attendance was 96.
So I think there's a mistake, and that's
So-
my fault. That should be the numbers for Teen Grab and Go. I'll have to get the numbers for the tape resist.
I see, yeah.
Yes. We're working on these together, and those were my mistakes, not yours. You're good.
During April 2025, there were 308 patrons visiting Teen Space. Again, April even closer to AP tests and
Yes.
still travel. So April 7th to April 11th had 88 attendees. April 15th through April 18th had 95 attendees. April 21st through April 25th had 54 attendees. And April 28th through April 30th saw 71 attendees. Teen Space was not in session for the following dates: April 1st through 4th for spring break, and April 9th, 10th, and 18th. I think those might have been testing dates on April 9th and 10th. And I think the 18th, I'm not sure what that was.
It was Good
but
Friday.
Good Friday,
Yes.
yeah, so we had off. Yeah.
Yep.
So the 8th TAB meeting of the year was held on April 25th. Teens had the opportunity to learn about credit and finances through the Michigan State Credit Union presentation. Overall, this presentation was incredibly informational and was helpful for teens. Attendance was 15. Upcoming programs for May are Teen Space, held daily Monday through Friday from 2:45 to 5 p.m. Club Half-Blood, June 12th, 6:30 to 8. June Tween and Grab and Go Kit, June 20th. Treat Yourself Book Exchange, June 21st, 2 to 4. iCube Teen Invasion, Retro Shrinky Dinks, June 26th, 2:30 to 4. And Novi Chess Club on the 26th of June, 7 to 8. And there was no Teen Stop display for this month.
Good job, that was a lot.
Thank you.
Yes, it was 2 reports.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Any questions?
In March, no required reading book club, only 1 attendance. Do you know why?
I think it's just people don't know about it quite yet, but hopefully it'll become more popular. It's a newer program, I know that, so maybe as the word kind of gets out to students, it'll become a little bit more popular, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good answer.
Was
Thank
the,
you.
Any other questions?
was the Michigan State Credit Union program, did you hear good feedback for that? Is that something that might become an annual thing, or?
We did. I know for sure the tab one I can't speak for on the 25th, but the budgeting one, they actually chose a career and then worked through what their monthly budget would be, if they were living at home or if they were living in an apartment, if they had they had to pay for a car and car insurance and stuff. So it gave them a really good perspective for what costs could be if you were living on your own for the first time and getting your first job. So we will probably try to offer that in late fall once the students get back to school, and then probably in the spring again. But the students that attended were very, very happy and enjoyed it.
Good. Imagine
Yeah,
it's pretty
and that was part of the
I was just
partnership
gonna
that we
use that phrase,
we
yeah.
worked with MSU Federal Credit Union. They had given us $10,000 to sponsor some events. This was an opportunity for them to connect with our teens by doing that sponsorship. So we really appreciate them.
Glad that worked out.
It was,
Good
it was great.
partnership. Any other questions?
Anything else? No? I know how busy you are, so thank you for stopping
you.
in.
Thank you.
Yes, good, thank you.
Sorry.
No
for being
worries.
late.
You're doing great.
Next item on the agenda is the President's Report. First of all, I want to call your attention to pages 16 through 21 in our handout, which is basically a lot of updates on the Institute for Museums and Libraries. First of all, the Attorney General in Michigan, along with a number of other Attorney Generals, has filed legal action. There's some other legal actions that are pending right now. It's hard to say what will happen as a result of all of this. It appears the Institute itself is sort of in dysfunction, though, right now, while all of this is going on. It's my understanding that at least the first half of what they send out will at least get sent out. And regardless of the results of the legal action, at best, that would only deal with this year, because they would need appropriations for the next year. Even if some of the litigation is successful and they're reinstated for this year, they still need funding from Congress to go on in the future. And, there's lots of information here in terms of if you want to contact people, who to contact. A lot of information here in what they do, how it helps Michigan, the MedCat and the MedCal, and so forth. So, and also, I want to thank Mary Storch, who had picked up on our conversation here last month and had forwarded me some corrected information about the salaries and the employees at the Institute. And I think they now have, well, I should say they had 96 employees. And I think the average salary was something like $98,000 or $99,000. I should have asked the librarian first.
Yeah, that's right. They'll let you know.
But it's nice to know. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
And I don't know, if, Julie, you're closer to a lot of this than I am with your fellow directors and so forth. If you want to add to that,
I think really the page to, point you to is page 19. I had actually sent this to the staff, but this was a little synopsis of what was going on. I took part in the directors meeting from our Library of Michigan state librarian, Randy Riley, and he gave us this information to share with you. So Mark, you are correct. Right now, they're looking at possibly 50% of award, for MELCAD and for MEL databases. So that's good. That if we only get 50%, there will be cuts, but it should save and keep that going. But like you said, we don't know anything yet about, 2026. That has not been decided. So it is a wait and see. We are waiting to see, some of this legal action. And I just appreciate, I know that I was at Advocacy Day. I put that in my report to you. That was what our focus was on April 30th, was to, talk to our constituents about this. And we have great local constituents. They listen, they understand, they know, and they're library users and lovers. I have also sent out, to Debbie Dingle. She received, and I received a response back, letting her know from my perspective, and she also has signed paperwork as well, to move forward. So we are doing from the state level, from our consortium level, from our local level, we are doing our best to put out our word. And anyone else who's comfortable doing that, I highly recommend, if you are, feel free. This kind of information is good information that you can use from our packet. And if you have a question or need anything, you can obviously call me as well too, and I can give some. But we've put in some really good information over the last couple months, and I think that we're being heard. I am seeing that, they're listening to us. And some of this has stopped a little bit from like the scariness of it to be heard. So we'll see. Yep.
And the other thing that I think is happening, and this is just my personal perspective, there's rallies already at what I would call the local level, that the funding gets cut off at the federal level. I think we're going to see something come,
I hope.
More from the state level if it's cut off from the federal level.
Well, that was what our ask was, is for that state level to be aware of that, right?
And I think that in the long run, the funding of those may come from different sources, but I think they'll still be there. I'm hoping they'll still be there.
We will need the Department of Education, which we fall under, to hopefully do something. And I don't know right now if that's on their radar, so that's what was the ask.
Mm-hmm.
And for those constituents who might be on that particular appropriation, for them to understand that hopefully we are being heard, and they will look into that for us.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the Department of Ed, but, if something federally doesn't happen.
Yep.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item is the board committee assignments on page 22. I didn't get a whole lot of requests from board members. The request I did get, I was able to accommodate in terms of committee assignments and leaderships there. So, really the changes, I think, are that Carla will be in charge of diversity, equity, and inclusion, was already on the committee, but is going to be the new chair, and added Carla to the Human Resources Committee. Policy, Lori Burke will be chairing that committee, and I don't think there was any other changes other than that. Nobody seemed to be too upset with where they were last year, so it made it very easy for me to accommodate the requests that I got.
Great. Thank you.
We all have our summer read T-shirts on. Are we going to have our picture after the?
We will. We'll take a photo after the meeting tonight. Thank you.
Okay. And the last thing I have to report on is next meeting, we will have the director's annual review, closed session, June 12th. So the HR committee is probably working hard now already with Julie on
They will be.
questionnaires and evaluation.
I had to wait until the committee. I had to find out who was going to be on committee. So yes, next week I will send you out some information. So thank you.
And that I assume that all of us trustees will be receiving something
Yes.
and evaluating and sending it back at the direction of the HR committee.
Absolutely.
I have nothing else in my report. Any questions for me or anything else along these topics?
Nope.
If not, we're going to move to the treasurer's report. Brian, it's your show.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. We've had discussions in the Finance Committee, and for those that are not aware of it, I encourage you all to look at the video from City Council for April 16th. They had a budget meeting. Some documents were sent to the City Council just with some bottom lines on our budget. And it looked like we were going to be eating up all our costs in operational budgets, and it did not go over well with council. It was a very, at times, the library did not do well in the meeting. Let me put it that way. I turn your attention also to page 87. In page 87, this is the note from Julie that was sent to council prior to that meeting that basically explains what we've been explaining at our meetings as far as our needs for infrastructure, as far as the building's needs, as far as what we need to handle. And that note was sent prior to the meeting. It is referenced in the meeting. It is also referenced in the meeting by Victor, but I encourage everybody to take a look at it to see exactly what was going on at that time. There's also a full minutes transcript available from that meeting because they've since been approved in the City Council meeting. We also had a long meeting trying to figure out where we are going to end this year. We had that meeting yesterday in the Finance Committee. And the bottom line is, if you look at page 27, our total revenues are pretty much set. That's what we're going to see for the year, which is just under $4 million. We are looking at a run rate of revenues and of expenditures at just around $300,000 to $320,000 a month. So we expect to come in probably a little bit ahead of the budget versus where our revenues are versus what we've spent. But some of the sources are the same sources we have. We fund our library for full employment. Full employment is something very difficult for any organization to achieve. But we have to be able to give our staff the ability to go out and hire to full employment if they can indeed do so, because none of us work at the library or are going to be involved in personnel decisions. Also, the total revenues have been over what the city estimated for us at the beginning of the year, and our investments again have come in at with a large bump that again we'll ask an explanation for. I'm not sure where we're going to get, but so that's basically where we're going to end up. Where we anticipate ending up. We should have more information because we should have near the end of the year information next June, which is our year ends on June 30th. But that's basically where we stand. Again, I encourage you to view the video because I think everybody should be aware of it. President Stirring and Julie were at the meeting. I was out of town that day, but was fortunate to be by a computer, so I was able to watch it live, even though I wasn't here. So that's the report.
Thank you. Right.
And just to add something, just real quickly, I'll be working on the fourth quarter, and I'll bring you fourth quarter numbers so that we can look at the final, picture of this year's budget, and that'll come at the June meeting. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for our treasurer? Okay. In that case, the next item on the agenda is our director's report.
Okay, we're on page 36. We have 5 people to recognize tonight for anniversaries that are coming up in June. Eileen Mazzarello, 8 years, and she's with our Support Services Department. She is one of our shelvers. Joe Plosky is also celebrating 8 years from our facilities team. Shang Yu Chang, 3 years, Support Services, and he's a supervisor. Taylor Price, 2 years, Information Services. She is our programming assistant. And Vera Wexler, 2 years. She's from Information Services. She's a Sunday librarian and now also working as a reference librarian a few hours during the week. So congratulations to our employees for June anniversaries. Below that is a photo. We participate with the city, and we provided a tour and a program for Take Your Child to Work Day on April 24th. So that occurred. We had a great time. We did a Mad Libs about the library, which was really fun, and then did a tour, and they were with us for a little bit over an hour and had a great time. And then I already mentioned Advocacy Day. There's some photos there, and the opportunity to meet with Senator Beyer and Representative Breen while I was in Lansing just a week ago. I put in some information about what the ask was on page 38 and 39. You know, I have to tell you, our Michigan Library Association does an amazing job queuing us up and getting us ready for those meetings. And this is some of the information that we used for talking points when we met with our constituents. Page 40 and 41 gives you a little bit of what was going on personally with me through work through the month. And then I have other reports. I do want to hit on page 42 in Hoopla, just to, you know, I made you aware of, we are bringing down the opportunity for the amount of checkouts that you can have, and that is due to costs. We're seeing those costs go up. We're seeing great usage of it, and we can't keep up with the usage versus the cost right now. We're coming to the end of the year. We will start all over again in July, and we do have more money that the board has put into our budget for next year to accommodate some of this, but this is definitely a service that continues to be very popular. We've also asked people, one of the differences, you know, when you walk into the building and you're browsing and checking out materials, you might take a couple books you're not sure you'll read or not, right? When you're physically taking them out. We're asking people to be a little more careful with that when they're downloading, because that could mean someone not getting something for the opportunity to check out. So to be a little more diligent about what you're sure you might want to check out, and then check it out. If not, you're not sure, don't, because it could give that checkout to someone else.
Yeah, and I noticed too, even if they check it out and then decide I don't, they still get charged for
Yes.
that, right?
So-
So that's not something I knew, so that's good
Right,
information
so
too.
we're
that
trying
be
to
sure-
teach people.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely, that's a great point. And I do want to share, this is across libraries, public libraries across the country. We're not the only ones dealing with this. Chicago Public Library, we just heard from them, they're down to 5 checkouts. So they've had to do this too, just because of costs and which is great, you know, it's popular, but trying to meet that demand
Right,
based on
wow.
cost. But just watching that, page 43, I put in the information about our.
I have a
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry. Yep.
Is this page 42, is that been sent out to the public, or?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
It was sent out in our May e-newsletter, and it's been on social media as well. So we're
Okay.
keeping,
Getting the word
making
out.
sure. Yep.
No, that's got
Yep.
very good information on it, and I just want to,
Absolutely. Mary Robinson, who's our digital services librarian, she put this together.
Great.
Yeah, I think it's a great piece, and it starts to tell a story about, you know, if we're wanting to increase some of the things we want to do at the library, or put more money into digital services, it might cost a little more. And so, you know, that this is an example for the first time of telling a story like that.
I don't think everyone that uses digital services like this I don't think they realize that the library pays for it.
For them. And there is.
I think they think it's free. It's free to them, so it must be free to the library. I mean, that's what I initially thought until
Reading.
I saw the budget.
Reading this. Yes, and seeing the budget. Yep, absolutely. No, that's a great point. You make a wonderful point. Nope, we are paying, you know, for these services for our community to have them at no cost to them. If they were to buy them on their own, they would obviously
Yes.
they'd be
That's a
doing it.
very-
So this is part of
a
the
very big
taxpayer dollars
advantage.
coming in that we're putting towards digital opportunities along with the print. So
And
that's a great
Hoopla
point.
seems to be more costly than the other services.
Yes. but it's also
Answer.
got a lot better collection.
Yep.
So that's what we're
I
paying
noticed
for,
that.
is a
Right.
higher end collection, and we could dial it down, but then there wouldn't be that opportunity to check out some of the newer releases. We'd go to like the B level. I don't want to do that. I'd rather first start with cutting down a little bit of,
Okay.
that opportunity than to cut out the actual titles. And so we made that decision first.
Great.
Yeah,
Well, as
7
long as-
items are a lot.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
It's a
it
lot.
is.
2,
Right.
3 is okay, but 7 is a lot.
Yes. We do have, I have to tell you, our digital readers are usually really.
Pretty voracious
Yes,
readers.
voracious readers. So, but we can look at that, but I'd rather stay at being able to offer really good
7.
stuff
It's very nice.
and not making those cuts and just making a little bit of a dial down in the numbers. Yep. Nope, that's a great point. Page 43, we had our upgrade Sunday and it went very well. Just a couple things that we had to tweak, but we were up and running. I always like to plan for the worst, tell you that we might not have all these services, and then it turned out people could walk in, they had access to the catalog, they could check out even without their cards, which we were telling them, you need your card because we would need it, but we didn't have to go into backup mode. It was great. I was actually there on Sunday, and the only thing that took a couple days was our lending library to get that up, and that is up and running as well. So we're good to go. Yeah. Perfect. Let's see. And then just moving forward, there's some information about some mental health awareness programs that we co-sponsor. We've got our read box. If you're available to attend May 20th, we have a new read box that's going in the community. It's our 5th one, and it's going in the Jessica's Splash Pad, which is, the newest park that the Parks and Rec Department has opened up, and we're going to be putting a read box in there.
Will
And-
the
Yep.
splash pad be open for use?
No, not on that day. It actually opens Memorial Weekend is when it kicks off.
Oh, okay.
So this is just a little special unveiling. We'll fill the box and then get it ready for the holiday. On page 47, I've put in actually 47, 48, 49, some upcoming programs for you to be aware of. Summer Song Fest, I know you always look for that, so if you can put that on your calendar and join us for some great music. Most of these programs are being offered through our friends as sponsors, and Gail Anderson does a fantastic job getting them coordinated, so huge thank you to her. And then there are some reports from IT and IS and support services, marketing. If you have any questions, I'm happy to entertain anything from that information going forward. Okay. No? Okay. Thank you.
I have a comment, though, in connection with your monthly report to us, Julie, which on
Yes.
41.
Okay.
From my perspective, and I want to speak for the board, let the board speak for themselves, we have so much interaction with you, we know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true.
That if you think you have to give this report to us to show you you're working and what you're doing, I don't need it.
Okay.
We have so much interaction, we know you're busy, we know that you're doing things,
Okay.
and if it's taking time from your busy schedule to do this report to us,
Okay.
it's not necessary from my standpoint, because we know what you're doing, and we haven't.
It
Now,
does
if
take
it's,
time, but-
if it serves another purpose that I'm not aware of, I mean, I'm not saying don't give it to us,
Right.
but you don't have to do it for me, and I think
I would agree
we
with
see
that.
you on all the, we see our board reports, on the committees, we see the interaction that you have, so I don't think it's necessary if you're giving it just to the board.
I am, so perfect. If you don't need it, I'd be happy if you ever have a question about where I am and what I'm doing, I can give it to you.
And I do understand reports from other supervisors, and I find that helpful in terms of, a little more specific
Right.
information on facilities and stuff like that. But I think in terms of your report to us, I almost see it as a little bit of redundance, and I think it takes time for you to do it.
Perfect. Nope, thank you. I appreciate that, Mark. Okay.
Any other comments or questions on the director's report? Julie? Yeah. We're moving along.
Yes, we are.
Nobody's here from the public, so I don't have to give the public comment for the second version. Committee reports. I'll open this up to any committee person or chair that wants to speak about what their committee has done or is doing, with the exception of if it's going to come up in the board action, we really don't have to do it at this time. But any committee chairs or members want to report anything from their committee?
Well, I think that Brian covered everything for the Finance Committee, that what we've been doing. So,
For the building and community, I think.
You want to cover it now, or you want to cover it when we have our vote on
Yes.
on the matter for action?
okay.
Okay. I am missing a page in the agenda. I'm sure I lost it.
You're on page 3.
I got it. I found it. That's where we're at, matters for library board action. I will, Gina, you want to talk about the
No,
automated system?
No, I wanted Julie to talk about it. It's better.
So we are on, why don't we turn to page 91? Because what I did is I highlighted for you just that top summary. You received a number of pages, and I want to put out a huge kudos and a huge thank you to Mary Ann Zermulin. She is Assistant Director of Building Operations now. This is just an amazing example of her work. To summarize what's been going on since February, because she worked on an RFP, we put it out, and then we got our feedback and our information back from companies specifically for an automated material handling system. As you know, our system is 15 years old because it was put in before we opened, so we're at 15 years with the equipment. It's doing okay, we over time and parts and things that have been replaced, and we don't want to run into it broke and we're out for months, which would be 6 to 9 months potentially to replace it. We want to be proactive. We're learning a lot with that when it comes to the technology in the building. And so, we brought this to you as a budget item and to put this out and look at a new company so that we can replace it. As you can see, 3 companies, based on RFPs that we received, 3 companies were chosen for demos. And then we went through those demos. In fact, I want to thank also the Building and Grounds Committee because you participated in those and had a chance to not only take a tour of ours to get to know our machine a little better, but then also to hear the demos and the presentations that came from the companies that turned in RFPs and their quotes. So, again, Mary Ann did a fantastic job. She also worked with 6 supervisors from her team. Shang Yu, Kristen, Jill, I gotta remember them all, hold on. Elizabeth and Eva and Yolanda, thank you. Thank you, Amy. So those 6 supervisors, for the first time, really got a chance to get involved in this process as well. They use it every day with our clerical staff. So if we didn't get their opinions and have them weigh in, I think it'd be a disservice really to this process. And so I thank those 6 supervisors. Sarah Momini is a new department head, and so she's learning the process from Mary Ann and also took part. So having all of them part of the process and I think was a really great way to do this and get feedback. The recommendation is for us to go with the company called Linxos, let me give you the quoted information. So the actual recommendation, and it's from the review team, which is the staff. I know that you participated and we appreciate that you came, but it is from the staff recommending through the board that we purchase the AMH system with an exterior patron induction station, staff induction station, and accompanying locking backup book drop from Linxos Systems in a not to exceed amount of $148,239. It is the most expensive out of the 3. However, I do believe from the information that Mary Ann has provided and also questions that came from the committee after we went through the demos to answer when it came to efficiencies and when it came to staff personnel and time, It's also a 6 bin and not a 5 bin. And the way the actual machinery works, definitely way different and better than what we have currently in the building. And the staff didn't want to go with just something that replaced it, but we were looking for something that would, we hope, even last longer, which we've been told, there's a longer lifespan that we can look at for the next time. I will not be here the next time you replace this. I want to go on record.
Oh, yes, you will.
But we're leaving this library in good hands over, into the future. But this is a really good system. I took part in the process, but it's the team that uses it every day that I really felt needed to be sharing, their thoughts and their recommendations. So I'm looking to the board. I know that the committee itself understood and made the recommendation, was comfortable also with the staff and what they were choosing. And so I'm happy to answer any other questions specific to it, or maybe even one of the committee members would like to weigh in at this point.
Well, what I'd like to do now probably
Yep.
is entertain the motion.
That's great.
To approve it, and then we can go into
Great.
that discussion.
Perfect.
That's okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So I would entertain a motion to approve this.
I move to approve as written.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second?
Second, okay. There's been a motion to approve the purchase of the Linso system of roughly 148,000. I don't see the exact number here, but 148,000. Any discussion amongst the board?
I just have a few comments. After reading this lengthy report, I just want to thank everybody involved, the staff and the Building and Grounds Committee, for all of the work and all of the participation in the demonstrations. And, I would have to agree, Mary Ann has really gotten down to the nitty-gritty and done a thorough job. I think that, and I've said this before, the reason that we have subcommittees on the board is because we all have the Novi Public Library's best interests at heart. And, again, with all of the work that they've done, numbers match. I'm not going to second guess their decision. And I support the purchase.
I would like to just take the opportunity to say how much I appreciate being able to be part of all that. I really did. The tour, Mark and I were able to go see how the current system works and things like that, and it's just a whole world that I had no idea about, and it was just wonderful to see it all in action, and the professionalism of the staff, and Marianne in particular. You have a question and bam, she's got the information, and it's all very clear and understandable. So yeah, I loved having the opportunity to be part of it.
Yeah.
So
Thank
it
you,
was
and we
impressive.
appreciate that you participated.
Impressive.
The staff had really nicely organized and planned. Whatever we had a question, they had the answer for it. So it's like, it was a nice demo.
It was also an enjoyable experience for me to see the demonstrations, again, see our existing system, compare it to the new system, or the new proposed system. I think this is going to be another example of us moving forward with some challenging budgetary issues, and this being a more efficient system, a system that will save on some of repetitive tasks that the librarians otherwise had to do, will once again be repetitive of getting the automatic sorter in the first place, but at a much higher level.
Yep.
And the original sorter saved a lot of staff time. This will save even more staff time. I think it's capable of taking us, I guess as Julie says, past Julie sometime. But I mean, doing the type of things that we just didn't think was possible 10, 15 years ago. And I'm not a techie, as everybody knows, but it seems to be a very techie, software compatible, enlargeable If we ever reach the day where little robots are running around shelving books, somehow I think this system would have a software add-on to do it. So anyway, it was a good experience, helped learn a little bit more about the details, the inner operations of the library, but I was pleased with everything I saw, and I support the motion.
Thank you.
I do also want to say that I really wish that we had a full board tonight because it is such a big purchase. But I don't know that we'll ever have a full board. You can't count on ever having a full board, and I don't want to put the cost in jeopardy of waiting until we do have a full board, and it may not be the same cost. It, may have gone up or something like that. That's all.
I recognize that this is a service that we need to maintain. I recognize that this is a system that is headed for obsolescence, what we've got now, because of the inability to get parts, so forth and so on. And I appreciate the work that's been done. I think it looks like an excellent system. My concern comes about, again, coming forward with this kind of capital appropriation after we just received what we received from council. And all our cost savings on this unit right now are soft. They're basically compared to our budget. We're saying we're saving money from our budget, which proved to be a level of non-acceptance from council. What I would like to see, and also alluding to the fact that we don't have the board members here, is to approve this on a first reading and revisit it next month to see if, maybe we want to consider taking some, coming up with some kind of hard costs that we save, because that was what was called upon from us to do in city council. Maybe we don't. But I think that this is a large purchase that I think making it at this time, just coming up, right after the meeting that was just had by city council, I think it may be sending the wrong message. That's why I would like to see if I understand that, making the decision this month versus in June doesn't change our costs. Am I correct in that?
No, we're only held for, I would have to check to find out how long the costs
Okay.
last. I don't have that number
Okay.
tonight. Yeah, I don't have that answer.
Because I would hope it would be 60 days, but I don't know.
That I'd have to go back and look at because I don't have that answer.
Yeah, but I mean, that's my concern at this point. Again, our costs are soft costs. There's a cost in here for electricity. When they say we use like 1% of the electricity of the old system, I have a real tough time with that. I'm sorry. To make to make a decision on those kinds of savings and the budget savings, I would prefer, if at all possible, to say this is a first approval and making a final decision after we get some time to mull it over.
If I could just,
Go ahead.
if I could just add, I do know that we planned it in budget out of our 272 capital account, and it's not hitting the general fund, which is different from where I think the city council was concerned, because that's what they saw was the general fund of 271. And that was, so it's being planned out of our capital reserve there that we've designated for building upgrades and things like that. So I would just put that out there. It can take anywhere from 6 to 9 months, from the time that we say yes to this, for this actually to all get in motion. And I do think that, I can't say for sure, but I do think that pricing could change. I wouldn't want to lose out and have something become more expensive by waiting, knowing that this is something that we do need and we do need to, move forward with if we could. We planned all this, last year and through budget, and even this winter. I guess my one comment would be, had I known that, I would have held off the staff and all the time and all of the, things that we've done so far to get us here. We could have held off I would like us to see us move forward. That's just my thought.
And I also feel because it's such an important, like, kind of heart of the library.
Yep.
After I saw what it does and how it affects the staff on a daily basis, and that to me, moving sooner would be better than moving later, personally.
Addressing the comment of how long the bid is good for, it has been a process, so I think the number that they gave us wasn't the number that they gave us yesterday. They gave it to us, 30, 45 days ago when
Correct.
we started the process. So they may have, given us I don't know that it was very specific how long it lasted, but it's been out there for a while already.
Correct.
So in that regard, I don't know if the price would go up if we waited.
Right. I would have to ask that. I don't have that answer tonight.
And it does come out of, the reality, this will be paid for for the most part, in next year's 272 account, because we may put down a down payment or some payment
Right.
this year. But the reality, this takes 6 to 8 months to build, and so this will, for the most part, be coming out of the 272 account
Right.
next year's.
For 25, 26.
Yes.
Yes. Mhm. If they require a deposit to get going, we have put a certain amount of money that we allocated for the end of the year to do a deposit so that we are, locked in. But then, yes, you are correct. The majority of it would be paid out of next year's 25, 26 budget, out of the 272 account.
And my personal opinion is to do it now. The money doesn't change after 1 month or 2 months, right? It's the same. And it's required. This is a required thing, so.
Thank you.
Yep. It impacts daily service.
Daily service and staff, so.
You want to amend it, Brian? You just want to take a vote? You want to take a vote on the?
Well, I asked for a friendly amendment. It's clearly the friendly amendment is not going to go through. But again, the council made it extremely clear that they're looking for, and not only was it the council meeting, but there are several members of the board that have had private conversations where we were basically told to cut operations. They're flat out. And my concern is the message this sends. And
My only reaction to that would be this is not an operational expense, but a capital expenditure.
I understand the logic.
Difference, I know.
I understand where this is coming from. I understand where we get our numbers, and I understand what level of control we have. I'm just reacting to the fact is I serve, and anybody on this board serves at the direction of City Council, and I'm only responding to the direction I was given. That's all I'm doing. And I recognize that, I recognize that there's no support for the amendment. That's fine. I recognize I'm only one vote on this board. That's fine. But I need to say it for the record.
Fair enough.
I think, I appreciate your position, Brian. I think that I have no problem defending what this board's doing, how it's spending its money, how that shakes out. So I can move forward with this, notwithstanding those concerns that you have, and I understand them. But I think when push comes to shove, we can justify our operational cost and our capital cost, and I think that I want to keep operating. I would prefer to keep operating. So, I will, with any further discussion?
I guess I feel that, yes, we work at the behest or whatever of the city council, but my main goal here is to work for the taxpayers of Novi and to provide them with the best library that we can with the money that we have. And we knew this was coming. It's been coming for a couple of years. We've been several Band-Aids on this machine. It is a vital part of the library. And I just think if we want to maintain the integrity and the standards that we have for the library, that we need to go ahead and bite the bullet, regardless of what anybody says.
I agree.
Any other discussion? Not hearing any, I'll ask the secretary to call the vote.
Trustee Gawalapu,
Yes.
Trustee Stirring,
Yes.
Trustee Bartlett,
No.
Trustee Burke,
Yes.
Trustee Helvangus says yes. Motion carries 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Moving on to communication. I alluded to this earlier. It's on page 102. That was the email that Mary had sent to me, and I appreciate her taking the time and effort to send that to me. I wish I'd talked to her before. And she actually gave me a website where I could find out a whole lot of this information, not only about the Institute of Libraries and Museums, but all other federal agencies. I mean, it's something that I was impressed with, just getting that. So anyway, that's there.
As you said earlier, ask a librarian, right?
So, that is actually very true, very true. There's no closed session tonight, so I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
I motion to adjourn.
Okay, we can do it by show of hands. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Wonderful, thank you so much. We're going to do our photo next.